All right, everyone, welcome and good morning. This morning's Talk About It Tuesday is about onboarding members and that process. I would love to hear some of you that have experience or a great onboarding process that you would like to share. And then those of you that may not have a strong onboarding process yet, that might have some questions, feel free to jump in and ask those questions. But who would like to get started in sharing how they onboard a new member? Everybody just jump in at once. Everybody's on mute, so y'all are gonna have
I'll
to
start.
unmute. Thank you, Nan.
Last year we started um, with quarterly new investor orientations, and we invite any company or individual that have joined, within that quarter, the previous quarter, to a breakfast meeting where we go over the organization, a little bit about the community, and the other investors, just talking about the services that the organization provides. We share with them information about the staff and support services that are available to them with other staff members. And we give them a welcome packet, obviously with a letter and swag items from our from our organizations to help us brand ourselves with them and help them brand themselves as a part of our organization. It usually lasts about 45 minutes, and we also use it as an opportunity for them to network with other of our new investors. I will say that the reason I'm on the call is I want to know is there's more is if there is more that can be done, but it's like just a morning breakfast get together once a quarter with anybody who has joined and has not attended, but we typically try to do it for those new members that have joined within the last quarter. That's
Is
it.
anyone else doing new member breakfast or hosting an event for new members to connect?
Nan, I have a question for you. What is your, well, first of all, what do you average for new investors each quarter? And of those new investors, what is your attendance?
Say we average anywhere between 5 and 7 new investors a month. You know how when you say the churn and everything, and so we probably invite about 20, and get half that number. What we also do engage or encourage is for them to bring other people in their company, not just the point of contact, but others. So I would say, in all honesty, we average maybe 10 to 15, but it may represent about 6 or 7 companies. That's why I'm kind of curious, how involved are your new investors? We call ours investors. And because I would say maybe 50% attend and only about 10 to 15, but we average about, 15 to 20 new investors a month. And that's looking at churn as well.
I love that you call them investors versus members. I like that. That's pretty, I've never heard that before, and I love that. Um, I was gonna ask, are you guys looking at your members based off of what their intentions are for their membership? So sometimes people join and that's not why they're joining, is to come to events and network or whatever. Are y'all looking at that percentage? Like, so maybe don't judge your engagement off the total number of members that join, but off the percentage that join, that is their goal, is to network within the chamber. So therefore, by attending that, they've met part of their goal with you.
I'm
So
nodding my head because what we get of those numbers that come are people that truly are trying to network, grow their business. So it's more of the small businesses. Your medium and large size businesses, they really don't come. And that's why we also try to make sure that we emphasize the benefits of the organization. But you're absolutely correct. It is pretty much the small businesses or the individuals that attend, and not necessarily our larger businesses.
So consider that in your member retention process, thinking about the business itself and that person's goals or that business's goals with your chamber, because you can't get upset if they're not showing up at membership events and different. If that's not their goal, then don't be upset about that. But make sure you're meeting them where they need to be. Are any of you identifying your members' goals when they join? Like, why they joined and what their intent is?
We don't currently do a breakfast, but I'm very interested to, maybe explore doing something like that more organized. But right now I do when people join, I make a point to meet with them and find out what their goals are and what their motivation is. I also do, even though not everybody has that need to come to the events, I do tell them that that's probably the most powerful tool that we have. We have a lot of benefits, but if you want to do business with other businesses, you want to be in front of them. And so I do encourage them, whatever their business type is, to send somebody, and become, have their face become familiar to people. But it's kind of time consuming. I would like to do something more organized, like a breakfast. And my question to Nan is, do you all pay for that yourselves? Do you bake that into your budget, or do you have a sponsor for that?
It would be neat if we had a sponsor. Moving forward, that is a possibility, but to get it off the ground, we just pay for that ourselves. And normally when they come, they're not eating much. It's like a tray of refreshments from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a coffee machine in our room. So, in our office. So we'll make coffee and we keep bottled water and stuff like that. So we'll just get juice and some mini biscuits or fruit, yogurt, stuff like that. And because I said the small number, we only have to get maybe 10 to 15, and half the people don't even eat. They just, and again, it's a quick in, quick out, but it gives them a chance to understand our organization as well as for them to get to know. And we also let them give them a few minutes to introduce themselves and talk about their business. So they seem to like that as well. And we started about 7:30, and we're usually finished about 8:30, in all honesty. And you'll see others, some that'll stick around and want to talk to each other, but we've designed it where it's no more than an hour.
How do you promote it, and how do they RSVP?
When they join, we keep a list of anybody who has joined within the last 90 days, and we send them an invite, and we tell them when they join, we have it where it's like the third Wednesday of every quarter. And so we'll tell them when they join, and then leading up to it, we'll invite them. And what we also do is we keep a list of who has not attended. So if you've joined within the last year and you haven't attended, we'll say, hey, so it's a personal letter, just a personal email that goes out. And because it's such small numbers, we can keep up with it organically by just saying, hey, this person didn't attend or their company didn't attend. We'll add them to the next one. And anybody who has joined up until now, let's make sure we send them an email and invite them to this.
And they RSVP to you?
Yes.
So you have like an estimated amount?
Yes, they RSVP through the personal email that's sent. So it's not elaborate where we do an Evite or anything like that. It's basically, well, somebody mentioned that one-on-one engagement. It's another touch point.
Yeah, great.
Do any of y'all have like a complete onboarding process? Like that should be part of that complete onboarding process. Does anybody have that going on?
We did. You talking about the chamber breakfasts?
Well, just an onboarding, like from the time that they joined, they've filled out their membership application, either online. Like you should have a process for who approves memberships and who reaches out to them after if they join online, who's reaching out to them, or if it's a paper application, which I know that's not really, I don't know if that's really a thing anymore. Maybe it's a thing. Who processes that paper application? Does it get scanned? What's your touch points beyond just the breakfast, phone calls? Like if it's a restaurant, do y'all plan to go eat there once just to show that initial support for them? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Has anybody got like a process to which you onboard a new member?
We do.
Hey, oh, sorry.
Okay. I don't even know where to start because I couldn't.
I was going to say that Leanne, I used to be the member manager. Now Leanne is, and she does a great job. When we, of course, we're a small chamber, but when we know there's a new business, we go out and visit, carry a whole packet with all the benefits and everything. And then when they join, we do the monthly breakfast, the quarterly business after hours. We do a monthly newsletter, and that breakfast invitation goes out in the newsletter with an RSVP link. And then she also sends out a reminder. And then we do, monthly billing, and every month she'll print out the list of who's going to get an invoice, at the end of the month. And she calls them and talks to them, tells them, thank you for being a chamber member. What can we do to help? Has anything changed? And then she updates it. And then at the end of the month, they get a new invoice. And we try to follow up. And if they do come to a breakfast or a business after hours, we introduce them, we call on them, let them talk about their business for a little while. So I think we have a pretty good member retention. And anyway, that's
Anybody else?
how we do it.
Hey, this is Catherine with the Opelika Chamber. How are y'all today?
Good,
Yeah.
Catherine. Good, Catherine.
Good. So we have a member onboarding process. We've actually just recently updated our membership retention plan. We also have a 30, 60, 90-day plan that's kind of within that overall retention plan. But our focus really is to, keep those touch points going. So once they join, we send them a welcome email. I set up a time with them to meet, to go over all of their benefits. I invite them to different chamber events, and we try to, keep up with them as far as, within their first 90 days, because we think that's really important, because we want to kind of build that relationship with them within that time frame. But then after that, it's important, obviously, to keep those touch points going. So we've incorporated some different things, such as we've recently partnered with one of our chamber members, Bonnie Plants, and we've started delivering plants to our members when they reach their 6-month mark with us as a chamber member. And we have a note on there that just kind of says, we're excited to watch your business grow. And right now we are hovering around a 90% or higher retention rate. So that's been really awesome to see. And we really, want to keep that going. But I'd be happy to share, some of the aspects of our retention plan with some of you guys if you are interested. But it really is helpful to just kind of have that outline of those different touch points. So we have everything from, like I said, 30, 60, 90, past that, into their 6-month mark, and then going into their 1-year anniversary. We're going to do some sort of touch point, maybe with candy or something like that, with a note. And then even past that, we have plans for that as well. So people that go into 2 years, 3 years. So we're really trying our best to keep up with that and keep it tracked in our CRM system, Growth Zone. And that's a good way for us to go back, see, which members still need those touch points, and we can kind of add those reminders in there as well. So hopefully that kind of answers that question. And then we also do give them a new member gift when they join as well. So whether that's, me giving that to them at their first kind of meeting to go over their benefits, or if that's at their ribbon cutting, we do present that gift to them also.
I want to pause a second. I do want more people to share their plan. I'm getting some feedback. I don't know where that's coming from. So who does membership decals or new member packets? Do y'all do the decals? I was curious about that, if people are still doing decals and new member packets or new member gifts. So yeah, I like the show of hands. And does anybody have any questions about new member packets or decals or member gifts? Since Catherine brought it up, I wanted to just mention it to everybody.
Question. We do the physical decals, but we're thinking about going toward the digital decals, very similar to what you do, where you give them access to your logo to place on their website. And we thought about doing it to where we have the year associated with it, like, 2024 investor, of the Birmingham Business Alliance. And that way, great. I saw someone say Growth Zone. That's what we're getting ready to contract with Growth Zone. I'm sorry, y'all. I just read a chat.
No, you're-
CRM system. But anyway, so that's what we're thinking about. So I would love to know who's gone digital with their decals and how does that work for you all?
Anybody else doing digital decals? Did everybody get our digital decals? Just to make sure. And
I got yours. We do
We have
regular
an actual
decal.
hard decal and digital.
okay, you do both? Okay.
Yeah, we have our QR code on our decal.
We do both.
Thanks to our website.
Trying to see. I know there's a way to do a poll in here. I might do a poll. Okay, so any examples of new member gifts? Are y'all doing kind of some swag? Anybody doing swag mugs? Trying to think. Water bottles, pens, and any kind of swag? No. Okay, I will say I want to mention this, and Catherine could probably jump on too. Opelika is hosting a growth zone training in October, and we will be sending out more information about that very soon. So for those of you, we appreciate them getting with Growth Zone to put that together, but we're going to invite everybody that would like to come to that Growth Zone training. We will invite you guys to that. Another question I had based off the conversation, who is incorporating their ambassadors into their retention process? The ambassadors carrying that load, reaching out to those members, an ambassador buddy system, things like that.
We do. We
Yes.
do.
Oh, sorry.
I need a polling system. I gotta figure out how to poll y'all. This is
I was just gonna say, we use our ambassadors as part of, a part of our process when people join. Monthly, we get the ambassadors to sign up. They kind of fight over them because they want to be the one that goes and takes the decal, and they do a selfie with them. And then they send that picture to me, and I do like a graphic to welcome the member, and I tag both the new member and the ambassador and their business as well. So that's part of the reason that they enjoy doing that.
anybody else? Anybody have a question?
Yes, yeah, we actually use our ambassadors as well in our retention plan. So they do member touch points, and then we also have them do kind of a member spotlight on social media where they'll go to the different businesses and kind of highlight them in kind of a reel on our on their social media, and then we will share it to our page. But we do utilize our ambassadors for a lot of things within member retention. They also are required to give us, I think it's 3 to 5, maybe just 3 referrals per year in terms of recruiting new members to join the chamber. So that's been extremely helpful.
So we have what we call an ambassador and emissary program. And so the emissaries have 25 adopted members, and they reach out to them on a monthly basis with updates on how to log in or events and stuff like that. Some of their members are new and some of them are older. But I do want to sort of restructure like our ambassador and emissary program a little bit to where they are going out into the community and talking to those new members from April or May and delivering plaques or frequenting the restaurant or just, making those extra touch points that our membership account executives can always get to.
Anybody else? Now, I will say from just what I have experienced, and you guys can all do, obviously there's a million different ways to do this. You usually have if you're doing membership to its fullest, you'll have a recruitment plan, like how you recruit members, how you're identifying people to join. You'll have your what I call your onboarding, your 1 year, that first from the time they join through 1 year. And then some people will carry that to do from the time they join to 2 or 3 years, because those are kind of the most important years. Once you get past that 3 year, they typically stay, right? And then you have a retention process that starts from wherever that other plan ends onto, onto forever, so to speak. And that can be done a million different ways. So those are kind of like, and we're kind of talking into that window of from the time they join to they start into the retention process, keeping them on as members. Now, here's the member that's always the problem child when it comes to your beautiful onboarding process. Joining for the ribbon cutting, right? We all have that one that joins for the ribbon cutting. How do you handle the one that just joined to get the ribbon cutting? And you know they're not going to renew, or you just know it's that business is just, despite all your best efforts, is probably not gonna either make it a year or come back for whatever reason. How are you dealing with those? Anybody?
Just happy to get that money for that first ribbon cutting. I mean, we do our best to retain them, but sometimes you just can't. Cause you're right, all they want is that ribbon cutting. And there's nothing you can do to change that.
I've actually seen a few chambers here in Georgia creating a baseline membership for that purpose. It just includes listing on the website, ribbon cutting, and that's it. Like, it's just, that's all. And they know it. They've identified that member, and we're not going to put all of our energies into that member but you always run the risk of not converting them. You could convert them, So that's just something to think about.
Most of the businesses in our area that are like that are the national brands, like Taco Bell did that. One of the chicken places, I can't remember which one, but those national brands will do that a lot just to get that ribbon cutting, and then they don't really, and they're not going to send their people out. A lot of times those type businesses, they're not interested in having that community engagement. But we always try, to find a way, to engage them. But that's our issue, is they're not coming out anyway to meet people.
I would say corporate businesses are somewhat different when it comes to that onboarding process. It's especially recruitment. In your recruitment process, it's a completely different animal than just a small business or a locally owned and operated business. They are a harder one to get and a harder one to keep.
What we do with them is like our Jacks and McDonald's and all, we get them to donate breakfast food and trade out for annual memberships. And they're really good about donating biscuits and things on a regular basis to us.
That's a very good idea. Anybody else? Does anyone else have questions about onboarding or anything they want to share? Okay. I'm trying to look, see, I had some more questions. What goes in a new member packet? Who wants to answer what goes in their new member packet?
Board of directors, sponsors, membership application, 10 reasons to join. And we put one of our magazines in it.
Is that new member or recruitment?
Well, that's recruitment that goes to everybody.
Okay.
In our new member packet, we put the first page is just kind of a welcome and then kind of outlining all of their benefits. And then behind that, we have flyers that go more in depth for their benefits. So for example, we give our members around $1,000 in free advertising with local publications like the Opelika Observer, Opelika Auburn News. So there's flyers in there where I kind of say, okay, this is, you get a quarter page ad in this publication and this publication. And then I kind of go in depth about that. And then we also put flyers in there from other partners like Office Depot, Constant Contact, and recently we've partnered with some of our current members to offer different discounts like fitness discounts through Orange Theory and Workout Anytime, and then also some printing discounts, like one of our local printing companies offers 500 free business cards to our members when they join, which is really awesome. So that is what we put in there. And then on the other side, we have our most recent magazine and their member decals. So we still do the physical member decals. I had never heard of people doing the digital one. So those are really cool. I don't think I saw y'all. So I would love to see that. If you could send that over to me, that would be great.
Catherine, I will ask, are you following up on how many of those get used by new members? By chance? I know
So,
in your free time- in your free time.
that's tough. But it's funny because I walk into a business to just go see them and say hi, and I'll see on their door that they have a decal from, 2 years ago. And so that's a little concerning because we are getting these printed and we are mailing them out, and some of them are not putting them on the door, or maybe I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like that's something that's a little bit difficult to track. I can definitely talk to Ashley about that. Her kind of role is she works with billing and everything, and she sends out the decals with their kind of renewal postcards. And so I will definitely ask her if there's a way that we're kind of tracking that, but we're definitely getting them out to members. I just don't know how many of them are actually utilizing them and that sort of thing. So
Even just
that is a really good
just
question.
cards. I'd pick one and then reach out to them and say, hey, how many of these people have used that?
Oh, the business card option. Yeah. Yeah, that is a really good point. Because I know a lot of them have started taking advantage of that discount. And so that would be interesting to see just how many of our members are actually taking advantage of our affinity programs and kind of what that looks like, and maybe, how we can improve those or if they're actually working.
Well, I mean, it's also, that's a retention tool for that business.
Yeah.
You go back and say, look, we know that these members utilize this through our program.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Going back to the decal, if they're putting those up in their windows, we do in January, we send our decals out December, and then January at our luncheon, if they post a picture of our decal on their social media, we give them half price for their lunch for the month of January. So that encourages them to get it up quick, and it kind of creates a little momentum, I guess, for membership. But half price lunch, they love that.
It's a great idea. Anybody else? I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. It's 11:30 now. Is there any other questions? Obviously, we can go outside of the scope if somebody has a question. And again, we post these videos and reshare them with you. And I have a note of a few that I need to send our digital decals to, and our digital decals, you'll actually, if you are a certified or accredited chamber, you're going to get one. And then there's also the proud member chamber that you should get both. And you can utilize either one or both, however you want to do it. Anybody else?
I suggest our next topic will be on affinity programs. I heard a couple of people throw that out, and I'd like more information about how you design your affinity programs. We're looking at starting one, and our CEO is a little skeptical about them. So I'd love to know how the different chambers organize their affinity programs.
I'll look and see. I think we do have a topic that can fit in scheduled. But maybe we can swap it with another one to get it happening sooner. I'll double check on that, but I made a note to look into that. If not, we can always have another one of these and just discuss that. These seem to work very well to share information. In the meantime, if you see someone on here, you made a note of someone's name and you don't have their contact, remember you can use your info hub for Alabama Chambers to log in, and you can find any of these people's contact information. Or if you can't, just email me. I'm happy to connect you with anybody that was on this chat. And give any more information. If you guys have any more questions about these programs, that's what we're here for. We're happy to help and connect you with other people. That's what this is about. And I will say, as far as retention goes, that was really where I was involved heavily, was in that retention process. And we did a similar process to what Joy was talking about, where I kept a rotation of names. So if it 120 to 90 days, I would get the list of members that were about to renew. And I had a whiteboard that I just tracked everybody on. And that's who I started talking to. That was like whose Facebook post I started sharing. That's whose business I started showing up at. And then again, as they started renewing, I would whittle down those names up until invoice date, just making sure I'm in their face and I'm loving on their business and doing all the things. And that's how I kind of just kept that relationship ongoing throughout the year. So that was a very simple retention plan. But yeah, if any of you have any documents you want to share with us, we're happy to share those as well. And like I said, Catherine and Opelika Chamber, they're having a growth zone training in October. We'll be sending more information out about that. It is after PDC. It's a couple weeks after PDC, before Small Business Awards. Does anybody else have any questions before we close? Nope. And I will do one more plug. We have opened Small Business Award nominations. The form is on, we sent it out. We have not put it on our website yet. We just sent it out privately within the chambers. So make sure, and I saw one chamber posted asking like if your business, small business was interested in being nominated, tell us why, which I think is a pretty cool way for you guys to get those businesses that want that attention, putting it out there, say, hey, if this is something you want to be nominated for, tell us why you should be nominated, and come up with your nominations that way. So and we'll be sending out that form again and getting it posted on our website. We were just kind of not putting it out in the world because we have had some businesses reach out and say, hey, we want, how do we get nominated for this? And we just send them back to you guys. We say, this is your local chamber, you need to reach out to them. So that way it's funneled through you guys. Anything else before we close? I hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.